The other day I was walking through Kmart and I saw on the bargain shelf that they were throwing out these games, Space Invaders, $10. And I got very nostalgic when I saw it because Space Invaders was my first video game, my first glimpse of a video game. I was in primary school, maybe I was 9 or 10. I walked past a fish and chip shop and some kids were inside playing something. It was a cocktail video game of Space Invaders. And once I saw that, everything changed for me. I ended up becoming a software developer, like many software developers, purely because I wanted to program video games. And this is where it all started. So I'm really excited to see how far we've come in 40 years, basically, from the first glimpse of video games to being able to buy one, a self-contained video game, I believe it is, in a store for $10. Amazing. There's been a lot of old arcade games brought back to life through emulation. So basically, people have written emulators that are capable of emulating the hardware, the original hardware that would run these games. And people have gotten the old ROMs, the actual old video games, and uploaded them to the emulators. And then they will play them as if they were the original game. I'm quite curious to see whether or not this cheap game is actually emulated. So it's the original game that's emulated on some hardware, or somebody's just decided to build a clone of Space Invaders and market that. If they have gone down the emulation path, that's quite amazing, because it wouldn't take very much to create a Space Invaders clone game these days with the different game engines that are available. So I'm going to unbox this, then I'm going to plug it into my TV and see whether it looks like the original game or it's an obvious copy. And then I'm going to pull it apart and see what's inside it. Time for the unboxing. So I will say that, yeah, it's pretty swish, the graphics on it. I know graphics are a lot easier these days. The pictures of it, actually the picture here does not look like the original Space Invaders game. Who makes it? Taito. Were they the original? Company that released it? 1978. Copyright doesn't really mean a lot. But anyway, so the graphics are pretty cool. They look like the proper original graphics, this sort of thing, from what I can remember. And it is called Space Invaders, so I'm guessing they would have had to have licensed it at the very least. So yeah, I'm really excited to see what this is for the true retro feel, played on a CRT TV. I don't have one. Oh, let's have a look, see what's inside. Well, very minimalistic packaging, just the game shoved in a box that's slightly too small, and a set of instructions. Right. Put that aside. Well, let's see what the instructions say. Space Invaders User's Guide. So it requires 3 AA batteries, basically connect it to your TV or VCR. Anybody have a VCR? I wonder if this is old and it's just been re-released. It talks about CRT TVs and VCRs like people would know what they're talking about. Okay. Plug it in, basically. And that's a picture of the game. Right. Well, it's a plastic box. It weighs next to nothing. The joystick is made of plastic. Doesn't really click, although it doesn't feel too bad. Got a start button. I mean, it's cheap, right? It's made down to a price point. And it just weighs nothing, like literally grams. I mean, everything's literally grams, but you know what I mean. Like, there can't be a lot inside. Okay, so I'm going to go and plug this into a TV and see what happens. So that was disappointing, but not unexpected. It's clearly not the original Space Invaders arcade game. That would be too much to ask for something that's cost me $10. I think it only retailed for $30. So, but it looked bad enough to almost be something that came off an Atari console or something like that. So perhaps it still is an emulation rather than something that someone's created in Unity or something like that for a modern market. So I'm still very interested to see what is inside, although I expect there'll just be a single chip and probably it doesn't have any markings on it from what I've seen. One of those dreaded blob chips or something like that. But the only way to find out is to pull it apart. First job is to remove the batteries that I put in there to get this game to run. And they'll go straight back in the battery bag. Don't want to waste them. Let's see if there's screws in here. Yep. Well, this isn't going to be hard to pull apart. I can already feel as though the thing is going to fall apart, which is good. Is that it? Speak too soon. What's going on? Is there another screw? Is there a screw hiding under that sticker? Yeah. Of course there is. Oh no, I voided my warranty. What am I going to do? Oh, here we go. So what will we find inside? Ta-da! Okay, so, I mean, that's just power. And then we've got a board here that is, I'll take that out, but that's just for the joystick. So it'll just have some buttons in there that the controller presses down on the tactile buttons. And then it goes off to this board here. And it just has the AV out wires. That goes to the power switch and just this tiny little board. Okay. Let's pull that out and see what's going on. Although I might just take a picture of it. Zoom in there. So the board says GC28-208-V3 2022 0517. So there you go. It was manufactured in May last year. So I wonder if this is a re-release of an old, like an original game. Like perhaps this isn't, well, obviously not the first iteration because it's version 3. Yeah. I'll just pull that apart. Take that off. Okay, so that board just forms part of it, and there's a blob chip there. Oh, if I get that in focus. So there's a blob chip there. And we've got like a little daughter board there, which looks like you can, like it's just soldered in, and that would sort of make sense because these games, there was more than one of these games. So there was Space Invaders, there was Frogger, and something else. So probably the game is programmed onto this chip, and when they want to change what game is on here, they just solder on the different little daughter board there. But I don't think I'm going to be able to get any markings or anything off that. I'll take the other board out. Oops, there's my magnetic screwdriver. Causing trouble again. Put that over there. Would help if I actually put it in focus. In shot, whatever they call it. I don't know what I'm doing here. Let's have a look at that. All right, so I thought there would be tactile switches in here, but there's not. It's just these crappy like silicon rubber ones that basically make a connection across these terminals. I mean, that makes sense, of course, because this is built down to a price point, and that's, you know, why waste money on tactile buttons when someone's probably just going to play this for 5 seconds and then throw it out. Well, there we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, how do I get that closer? That chip, I'll get the microscope out so that I can see it because I can't see anything, and we'll have a look at it, but I'm pretty sure there will be nothing on that. It won't have any markings. did a quick search for this chip. I didn't really find anything. I'm guessing it's a memory chip. I probably just didn't know where to look. But I think that's how it works, is the game is programmed onto this chip, which is on a board that solders onto this. And there is a CPU hidden under this blob. And you can just swap out these little boards and you'll have different games. So this is Space Invaders, but if it was the Frogger game, it would have a different board on it. See, this one's marked number 2. So maybe Frogger was marked number 1. Somebody would have programmed them all up. And then just a different one got soldered onto the board to change the game. So not a lot to it. But even so, it was very interesting to see exactly what was inside one of these.